as a teenager, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life. I definitely didn't project myself, working in human rights and for the UN. But I had a lot of inspiration, especially at Westside with my teachers, and was always encouraged to join volunteering groups for social and environmental activism. And that moved me to study human geography because I was interested in a bit of everything. So I wanted to learn about the world. And then from that, after university, I did some volunteering abroad, specifically in Myanmar with the Karenni National Women's Organization, working with refugees, very young women who were campaigning against gender-based violence for a voice in the country's peace process. And I think it was them really that inspired me to then pursue further study into human rights, especially women's rights. With Peace Brigades International, we were supporting the Wapinol River Defenders. So this was a group of activists, campesinos, who were protesting the impacts of a mine that was polluting their local water sources, nationally protected area. And about 8 activists had been imprisoned for peacefully protesting against this company. And part of my role was to go to the prison to visit the main leader and interview him. So I had to convince the guards to let me in, representing Peace Brigades. And then I remember I was actually allowed into the cell, which was a very impactful moment because, first of all, the conditions. So severe overcrowding. You had about, 30 men in this tiny cell, no windows. And the main leader was motivating them every day. He was a huge inspiration, even, in the prison. And I think they were quite stunned that I was there because, well, first of all, they even said, desde Gibraltar, viene desde el estrecho. They were very surprised that, someone from so far away had come to support them. And I think it really made a difference in terms of the international pressure. And so I got to interview the activists, and luckily a few weeks later they were actually released. So I don't know if it was because of that visit specifically, but it
But you played a
definitely
role.
added.
That's
Yes.
incredible. You must have so many interesting stories to tell. Have there been any moments where you feared for your life in your work?
I haven't necessarily feared for my life, but for the people around me, because obviously, when I was working with the UN as well, we're there with a very strict protocols. We're going to some very isolated areas where there are non-state armed groups. But as I say, if you know the context and how to navigate your way, and you wouldn't go into an area until a social leader kind of gives you the okay to visit. But definitely with environmental defenders, indigenous peoples, many Afro-descendant populations, and specifically children who are at a very high risk of forced recruitment and sexual violence and armed conflict, I've felt, that danger for them.